Hello everyone, welcome. I just hope you've all had a good week. Mine's not been too bad, although I've lost 2 days work this week. I can't even what days there were now. I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday. And that was due to the high winds that hit the country. I'm in the UK and the gusts were too high, so I didn't work, and I think it was a good, well, I know it was a good move. I'd have got a lot of complaints if I was out working, and a lot of my customers actually be more worried about me and my safety, to be honest. So it's nice to have a catch-up day, catching up on admin and just getting on with it, really. So I thought about what I could do for today's live. So it brings me on to the title, and what I'm going to talk about is basically brushes, sockets and goosenecks for window cleaning. Now there's a large variety of them out there. Lots of different makes, lots of different companies make them. It can often get confused. You can get confused with it. And especially when you're starting up on a budget where every pence is accountable for you, you often don't know where to turn. But I'll tell you what I use basically, and what I've learned along the way. Hopefully that'll help you out if you're in that sort of boat. So first thing I'd like to talk about then is brushes. What sort of brushes do I use and why I like it? Just bear with me. I've got this out of the van today. I've got this brush. It's from Xline, Xline Systems. I'll show you the website. That's where I use all my kit. I'm very happy with it, so I tend to use all their stuff. This is a rectangle brush. You've also got seal brushes, but yeah, it's just rectangle one. It's 26 centimeters long. In the middle here, you've probably seen if you watch my videos on my channel, I like using these brushes. You've got a rinse bar here, and this rinse bar's got 9 holes in it, so it's in the center of the brush. It's sunken in as well, so that when you're using the brush on the windows and you're going over vents and the frames, it's not going to hit, bang or scratch those areas. It's a Dupont. I've got it with this, I've forgotten what they're called now, brush bumper. You don't have to get that, that's optional. So they're the type of brushes I use. So what I do is I quickly go over to the Xline website, and I'll try and show you where you find these. Okay, when you go along the top here, you've got different tabs. So I'm going to hit on the brushes. If I enable this, that's better. Right, it should work now. So it's going to drop down on the brushes, and you can see you've got different ones on there. You've got seal brushes and the rectangle brush. So what I'll go through first is I'll go onto the rectangle brush for you. With Xline, you've got this filter on the top. So you can see they do 2 different lengths. You've got 26 on the brush sizes, 26 centimeters or 35 centimeters. Excuse me. Oh. So I got the cat, and I'll just get this on transparent. That's better. Okay, you've got 26 centimeters, 35 centimeters, and 26 centimeters just thinks for your normal everyday standard size window. 35 being longer, that's good when you're doing large windows like shop fronts, that sort of thing. But I just go for the 26 centimeter because I'm basically residential. So we'll pick on here on the filter 26 centimeter flocked. Not the type of brush, the size of brush. Now you've got your bristle types. With Xline, you've got Dupont, which is the brush I show you. Then you have flocked, and then you've got mono, and then you've got what they call stiffer bristles. So there's 4 different types. And then moving across to the right, you've got water jets. So they can do 2 fan jets, 2 pencil jets. If you've got the 35 centimeter brush, which I'll just click onto now, you'll get different options on the water jets, and you'll see you'll get 4 fan jets as well as where you can pick 2. So with the 26 centimeters, a maximum of 2. With the 35 centimeter, you can get up to a maximum of 4 fan jets. With the 26 centimeter brush, you also get the rinse bar inside, which I show you. That has 9 holes. If you go for the larger brush, there's going to be more holes in the rinse bar, so you'll have 11. So we'll go for the Dupont now, for the bristle type, and all it do is it bring down your selection. It's filtered through, so you don't see every single type of brush that they've got. I'm not sure if you can see on your screen, but you'll see here starting on the left you've got your Dupont, so it's the premium, it's the gold standard, shall we say. Starting with fan jets, you see they've got a sale on, so they're probably going to discontinue them, I suppose. So yeah, it's a good price. And if you move on to the middle one, this was now with 2 pencil jets. Then when you move across furthest to the right, you'll see in brackets, it's the rinse bar, and that's the one I've got. I absolutely love the rinse bar. So again, if you prefer fan jets or pencil jets, then put them in the comments below. Me personally, I love the rinse bar. I just absolutely love it. So we'll view the product. Right, on their page then you can see it's premium bristles. Dupont, like I said, is gold standard. So basically it's got really, really good scrubbing power. So it's great at getting rid of all the crud off the windows compared to using other bristles where they may take a bit longer. But basically I think whatever you use doesn't matter. As long as it's had a decent enough soak, whatever it is you're trying to get off will eventually come off. Some things just don't want to come off using the brush. So I suppose it's good to have in your van backups. So like DA components, I've forgotten what it's called now. They've got that little pad. Used to be bronze wool holder, pad holder. I can't talk. And then now you can do the same thing, but with the walnut pads. And also they've got the IPC, which you can see a lot of people use in America. Steve-O, the window cleaner. I've been dying for ages to get my hands on one of them. Now I have. Absolutely love it. So yeah, water-fed pole. I still use those sort of things that you'd think mainly the traditional people use. If you do both, obviously, like I do some, but mainly water-fed pole. So the cat's trying to claw my leg. Wants attention. So if you hear me scream, that'll be why. So again, I use that, and you can stick them on poles. So it's good to go use them up to get to the high windows. I can put it on a separate pole, a trad pole. And then that way I don't have anything mounted on the back of my actual water-fed pole brush. I find it's better like that. Everyone's probably slightly different, but that's the way I work. So again, here's a picture of the brush. You can see it's rectangle, because what I'm going to get on is difference. Not trying to teach you to suck eggs, but if you're new to it and you're looking into all your researching, there's a seal brush and a rectangle brush. When I first started, I was advised to get a seal brush. So that's what I went with, and I went with a flocked brush because I can't buy different types of brushes. So on a budget, I went for a seal brush and I went for flocked because it's the best of all worlds really, and a good beginner brush. As you get better at things, you'll swap your seal brush for this, a rectangle brush, because basically it's lighter and you just got to adjust your technique a little bit and you'll be fine. It doesn't really give anything else much in here other than all this bump underneath telling you about all the brush, which you can read at your own leisure. But basically all you need to know is you've got rectangle seal brushes, the different types, and Dupont is like your gold standard. For this 26cm one, you'll see the weight is 229 grams. There are lighter brushes by other makes, but I find with this brush I can get a couple of years use out of this, still effectively cleaning, and I use it daily. And I also use it for fascia soffits and gutters as well as windows. So I use it as an all-rounder, full stop. It lasts me a long time, very sturdy. It is a bit pricey, you'll see with the price. It's £71.40p including VAT. It's only a couple of years ago, they're about £53. Like everything, it's gone up because you have to stay in business and survive. But it is worth the money because, like I said, you get a couple of years out of it. You can buy cheaper brushes, but they won't last as long, so you probably end up paying double the amount of this. And then plus with the cheaper brush, you'll need to get add-ons because they don't have the rinse bar in the middle, so you have to put a rinse bar above the brush. But I suppose once you've got it, you've got it. So this is the one I use, and it's my absolute favourite. So like I said, you've got the rectangle brush, and I'll try and show you the seal brush and what the difference is. Apologies, because you probably already know this. So again, we'll go 26cm brush for the size and the filter. We'll then click on the Dupont and then probably narrow it down to the actual one brush. Again, we'll go with the rinse bars. So I'll put that under water jets and then it should select one brush. Here we go. This is your seal brush. Straight away, you can see on the picture, when it opens up, it's got a completely different profile above my head. It's got an added bit on it. So it's almost like a lazy L. And they've added an extra bit on there so you can see if how it's laying down is flat. That would be the windowsill, and then you've got the main part of the brush, which would be the rectangle part of it, of a rectangle brush that would be touching the windows. So you can see why it's a good beginner brush, a seal brush, for when you're doing the top windows. As you're cleaning the bottom of the window and the frame, basically, you've got that other extra part on the brush, which is going to come into contact with your windowsill and brush along there. You can see it does bump the weight up a bit to nearly 300 grams. Sorry, I can't read from here, even though I've got my glasses on. So it's a little bit of extra weight, 20 grams, I believe. It doesn't sound a lot, but you'll notice it feels a lot, especially the longer your pole's out at different angles and so on. Yeah, I got on fine with the brush, but I'd say probably after 2 months, I felt using a seal brush marked me out as a beginner compared to everyone else cleaning windows with water-fed pole around me who were using the rectangle brushes. So that kind of pushed me to get to the rectangle brush. And then I just thought I just have to adjust the way I'm cleaning the windows to make sure I clean the windowsills. So, ouch, that's the cat. But once you sorted that out, I was fine. So if you're a beginner, I'd probably say go straight for the rectangle brush, but it's no harm having a seal brush just to get you going. All right, just bear with me. I'm just trying to catch up where we've got on. Okay, going for the different materials then with the brushes. So like I said, Dupont, that's your gold standard. With Xline, coming down from that one, because different brands will have slightly different makes. And I use Xline stuff all the time. They've got stiffer bristles. I don't really know why they're called stiffer bristles. I think they came out after the Dupont ones, but they're slightly cheaper. So therefore, I think Dupont's the gold standard ones. Closely followed behind will be the stiffer bristles. And I'm not sure if they're more aimed at people with using hot water, for example. So it'll still have good hard scrubbing power like the Dupont ones. So the cat's going mental, and I'm just trying to keep an eye because I'm not sure if he's going to leave me a protest present somewhere like on my pillow or something. Coming down from that one, you then got monofilament. I can't remember what they're called, but mono bristles. They were probably around as the bristles which are good at scrubbing the windows before Dupont and the stiffer bristles came along. So probably over time they'll get phased out. And then not underneath it, but just what I would say below it is the flocked brush. Now the flocked brush is a softer bristle, and on the brush as well, they're not even when they're cut, they're all different lengths. And what this enables it to is just to spread on the glass better. And you find when you're using a flocked brush compared to say the Dupont brush, or I definitely find, it seems to grip onto the glass and it seems to slide along the glass better than my Dupont one. But the flocked brush won't have as much scrubbing power as your Dupont mono or stiff bristles because they're a lot softer and more delicate. So it makes a flocked brush very good for things like solar panels. When you're cleaning windows and they've got the leaded strips or diamonds, squares, that sort of decorative stuff on top, it's good for those because the brush doesn't bounce off the glass as aggressive as the other brushes. So if you do go for a Dupont like I have, whether it's seal brush or rectangle you prefer, I would say definitely get yourself a flocked brush. You can see why when I started that I was told to get a flocked brush, because that's going to cover all eventualities when you're starting with your normal plain glass down to your leaded glass windows. Also, flocked brushes are good for, I find, when you're doing window frames that are made of wood, because you're going to help protect the wood or the varnish that the customers had put on there, whether it's by themselves or they paid someone, and you're not going to keep wearing it off so quick compared to the other brushes, especially when there's flocked paint, because it's a more delicate brush. But obviously if the window's really flaky, it doesn't matter what brush you're going to use, that's going to come off. And like I say, you can get your solar panels done. Then as you perhaps build up and you get a bit more spending money, you could then push up for a Dupont brush, something like that. So a good starter one would be a flocked, because it does suit certain windows. A Dupont or a mono bristle brush ain't going to do. We'll just try and have a look at them ones again. So again, to come out to the brushes, we just pick any flocked brush. The page loads. You can see here, designed to clean windows, frames and windowsills, because that's the seal brush. With all Xline brushes, when it says dual trim, you see you've got two different colours here. So I've got the white bit on the outside, that's the Dupont, and then you've got shorter, stiffer bristles in the middle. I'm not sure if these are Dupont or they're going to be mono, but dual trim basically means the outside ones here are longer than the ones in the middle, which is shorter, and that's kind of bog standard across all makes for your brushes. What it means is when you press the brush on the glass, the outer colour ones, they're going to spray out, and then the inside brushes, they're going to make contact with the window, and whilst the ones on the outside are sprayed out, they're still going to have contact of the bristles on the window. And the inside ones being stiffer, great for the really, really stubborn marks, like all the bird's nest that's baked. Excuse me, it's burping, so I double said that. Double tap. So they're quite well baked on, and it's them that give it that extra scrub. So that's how dual trim, when you see that's what it means basically. And then obviously you've got the actual make of the bristles. I'm not sure if it's on here if it'll go along flocked. And the bump underneath, what they're good for. It's because it's a mono brush I've actually picked. Again, I can't properly read all this. If it was flocked, let's see if we can find a flocked one then. So I'll just try the flocked on the filter, obviously on the seal brushes. Apologies for this. Right, here we go. There you go. Softer flocked bristles designed to clean windows, sills, solar panels. It's again just saying it's dual trim. Okay, it's not going into all the stuff with wooden sills and leaded windows, but that's what flocked brushes are renowned for. So just to quickly cover, you've got rectangle or seal brushes, then you've got the different makes. Dupont, gold standard I would say, good scrubbing power. Flocked, definitely have a flocked one as well, because that's good for the leaded windows. Otherwise you'll find your brush is going to bounce off the glass a lot. So you're going to have to do stuff slowly. When you've got a flocked brush, it doesn't bounce off at all. Well, it can if you're going super fast. But you find it much quicker and good for those examples. Opens up solar panels for you as well. When you're cleaning those sort of windows and you've got a stubborn mark on it, like I said, just pre-soak it, go off to another window or another part of that said window, come back to it, and you'll find it will come off after a good soak anyway. So you may find just cleaning the window takes longer than a Dupont one, for example, but it will come off. But then again, if you use the Dupont on a leaded window, it's going to slow you down because it's going to be bouncing off the glass due to the leaded strips. So you're going to have to adjust your technique accordingly. Different choices of jets then. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go back to, I'm not sure if you can see above me on the website here, they're giving a description of the jets that Xline do. So obviously on the right hand side, you've got the fan jets. They're going to come off at an angle. I've only tried using fan jets once. And that's when I first started. Everything was just pencil jets. Fan jets came in, they were new, gave them a go. I didn't like them compared to the pencil jets. I think certain windows they're good on and other windows they're not, whereas your pencil jets are a good all-rounder. In the middle, that's your pencil jet. So it's just 2 jets of water coming out. And then the rinse bar on the left is like having multiple pencil jets, basically. Won't be as powerful as just having 2 because there's more holes, but you can always, to get more power, put your flow rate up to find the flow rate that suits you. But I absolutely love the rinse bar. Definitely makes rinsing the windows easier and quicker compared to pencil jets for me. If you're just a pencil jet only, put the comments below, because I know some window cleaners prefer that over any type of jet out there. And clean the windows just as fine as if you're using anything else. It's all personal preference really. So they're your choice of jets. What I'm going to do now is just bear with me, because what I'm going to try and do is set up something else. Yep, brilliant. That's not coming up there. I'm going to change the internet basically over to Gardiner's. That's another popular make people use, and I use some of the Gardiner products myself. So here's the Gardiner's website. It's got to turn that on. That's it. I'll accept that. So what we'll go over then is have a look at their brushes compared to the Xline one. Now, when you go on their website, this can blow your mind at first. It still blows my mind. Under the brushes tab, you'll just see how many different, if I scroll through, can't speak. They've got a hell of a lot of different types, a very massive, big range of brushes aimed for specific uses, and different people prefer different ones. So they're trying to please, I suppose, a very big crowd. I have only used a Gardiner brush once as a tester, and that was mainly aimed at testing fan jets. And that was before they've come out with what Gardiner have done, these capsules where it doesn't matter what brush you got, you can change different jets and you can change them on the fly. So if you come into a building where you prefer, for example, pencil jets, you then might go around to the back and you want to use fan jets on, you can just replace the jets there and then quickly and effectively. So it's quite a good system they got there. So what we'll do is I'll have a look first at their seal brushes and we compare that to if it will load. Here we go. Internet's obviously really bad where I am. So all these are different flocked brushes, but they're also different types of brushes. And you can see flocked brushes are put down good for fascia, soffits and gutters. And I like to use my flocked brush now for, even though it's just a rectangle one from Xline, for when I do fascia, soffits and gutters. Just because I generally use my Dupont one for absolutely everything. So to save that and try and give me a bit more of my money's worth, I'm trying to use the flocked brush on those sort of jobs. Right, you'll see this one here. Don't forget a bigger picture. Here we go. This is the Gardiner's seal brush. It's almost banana shape. These brushes, I believe, are very popular, which is why I did try one for fascia, soffits and gutters. So rather than you've got this rectangle one, it's kind of bent over, shaped like a C. So that's your seal brush to it. But you'll notice on the ends as well, you've got the little white bit. They're really stiff bits. And also they're kind of shaped out to the side, like I said, like a banana. They're good because you can twist the, bear with me, my head keeps disappearing. Twist the brush like this and basically you've got a rounded bit on here and you can jam that up and it will go in a small gap to the back of the gutters where the fascias are. And then obviously these little bits that stick up this way, they can poke up there and get to places you might find hard when you're doing it with a rectangle brush just like this. There are ways around that. But I'm tempted to try one of these brushes again. So if you're a big Gardiner fan, put them in the comments below or in the chat up here and just let us know. It's just basically the money. Money's always a bit tight, but it's nice to have a bit of money just to try something, either like it or you don't. Everyone's slightly different. So yeah, that's their seal brush. See if I can come back on myself. And again, you see leaded windows. I think there'd normally be flocked cladding. That's going to be a flocked brush, but it's obviously a different shape for a different purpose. I'm probably the worst person in the world to tell you about Gardiner brushes and the vast array, but if you look up here on the brush guide, when you click on this, my internet comes up fast. Down here, they've got a page where it explains the big range that they do of their brushes. And they've also got videos on YouTube which explain it as well. So just to break it down here in the blue, there's the different types of brushes they've got, and it's got an explanation of what they do. And then in the green, you've got the different bristle types. So you've got the mono, flocked and Dupont that I was on about. And obviously with Xline, they do the stiffer, but they do something on here called taper tech as well. They can sometimes do a combination of Dupont and taper tech, for example. But when you scroll underneath here, you've got the brush guide, and then you've got this chart. I mean, if you click on there, this is really good. Again, I'll click on it. I'll open up big. Well, it's probably too massive. You can scroll down. And basically, they're going to tell you what the brush is, what it's good for, and then they've got categories along the top for what their jobs they're for. Like 3 ticks means really good. Obviously, 1 tick's a bit poor. So you can use this to probably find the ideal brush for you, especially if you're more aimed at one that's going to be the lightest, or you want something that's a good all-rounder, that sort of thing. This guide will be really good, and I'm sure, like most people would anyway, if you're still not completely got your head around it, just give Gardiner a call on the phone, obviously have a chat, ask a few questions, and maybe you'll get the answers you're looking for. But again, I've never really used Gardiner brushes. I only used one. That's when they had plastic jets, and the jets kept breaking on me when I was using the seal brush. Hi, Brad. Thanks for your comment. Okay, he's just saying while I'm talking about those stiffer ones, and I'm guessing it's the ones from Gardiner's, that he finds the stiff corner bristles great for getting the moss from the seals on conservatory roofs. I don't know if you ever fairly new and you haven't done many conservatory roofs, what you'll find is, especially where you get the white bits running down either between the glass or the polycarbonate panels, and you've got the little black rubber seals, and what you'll get in there is moss where it's grown slightly underneath and is slightly sticking out. So you'll be brushing for ages and you'll get rid of some, and if not all of it. So using the edge of the seal brush where they're like the banana shape, you just try and say you can angle your brush, dig it in there, and it's good for getting in underneath and getting that stuff out. So it's making the bits that are time consuming quicker, I suppose. I hope that's a good explanation for you, Brad. And then the problem with these bits is you find when you're rinsing down a roof, the water tends to run underneath, and then the bits you've just broken up that are trapped under there then seep out, and they keep going over and over again because you're scared someone looking up is going to see all that. And because you can see it's annoying you because you want to get rid of it, you know it's there. So yeah, those bits can be a pain, and hopefully using this brush perhaps it's going to make that process, because you're going to dig it out and maybe do a couple of go overs and rinsing out and then job done. So yeah, maybe I'll get myself one of those and try it on the fascia soffits and gutters again, and also use it for conservatory roofs. Cheers, Brad. And like I said, with sizes, Gardiners as well will be like Xline, where they'll have 26 centimeters or 35. Don't know if you follow Squeaky Clean Dave. Obviously I've watched a lot of his videos over the last 5 years. He uses a 35 centimeter brush a lot of the time, because his thinking is it's a wider brush, so you're having to use less up and down movements with your brush to cover the whole window, so therefore it speeds you up. And I know obviously certain windows, I guess it's not going to fit, but you could go sideways, or you just change the brush for your 26 centimeter one. It's personal preference at the end of the day. With Xline then, not Xline, excuse me, with the Gardiners, they do have different jet systems, completely different, and I do like the idea of this. If I can come to it. Right, under all products, bear in mind I can't read it from here. Here we are. On the bottom right, you see the Gardiner's backpack. That is an absolutely top bit of kit. Got 2 of them, and I've got the Xline trolley as well. But the Gardiner's backpack, for the price, you can't beat that. All the way over to the right hand side, you've got those little plastic capsules. They're the jets that are interchangeable with whatever brush you get. Right, I can't find them on here. I'm having a brain fart. I don't know where to look. I can't read everything from this distance, even though I've got glasses on. Seems really crazy, that. Anyway, have a look around on the Gardiner's website or their YouTube channel. Reference the capsules. You can do it by hand, but they've got a tool as well. So all you got to do is undo the small bit of hose that feeds into the actual jets themselves. You can just twist it with your finger and thumb, or use a tool they've got, which makes life easier. Twist, it comes out. Put a different one in for a different type of jet. Twist, it locks in place, and reconnect, and that's it. You've just changed the jets for your brush. The ones with Xline, especially when they're the brass fitting ones, they're kind of wedged in and you cannot change them out. They're not interchangeable. But obviously with Gardiners, they've hit on the idea of making it interchangeable. It saves you spending a fortune on different brushes for different jets. Just change the jets. So yeah, I think that's a really good system they've got there. Not used them. Again, if you're a fan of these, stick them in the comments below. It's all information that helps each other out and will help me out as well. I'm tempted to give it a go. I know with Gardiners, they obviously do the pencil jets. They'll do the fan jets. They do rinse bars, but they're not in the middle of the brush. You can mount them on top of the brush head, so it squirts over the top of the brush. That also means you could possibly rinse whilst your brush is on the glass, compared to when they're inside. You really can't. But also with the fan jets, they do different, like 50 degree, 100 degree fan jets. And then with the pencil jets, they'll come in different sizes as well. Cheers, Brad. He's just saying he mainly uses Gardiner brushes. Yeah, I use the Xline brushes, mate. My go-to brush is always this one here. It's the Dupont. Just get this screen here. It's 26 centimeter rectangle brush. The white's the Dupont. The orange is the dual trim, so they're sunken in, stiffer bristles. And I've got a 9 bar rinse bar in the middle. Sorry, the cat's just going to try and jump up on me again. That's my go-to brush that I use for all cleaning really, and I just use the flocked when I'm on the leaded windows, and also when I'm using solar panels I'll always go flocked, and if I'm using windows with wooden frames I go flocked as well, just to try and protect the paintwork a bit and just sort of like think of the customer really and doing a bit for them. So yeah, for me, Xline, Dupont. I am tempted to have a go with the Gardiner brushes. You'll see in a bit the reason why is because I use the Gardiner's Gooseneck and the quick lock system, because I absolutely love that because it's quick and easy to change my brushes around for when I want to do it. Hi Ched, thanks for joining in mate. Yeah, no worries. You probably haven't missed much, and if you hear me scream it's because I've got a cat keep trying to jump up on my lap. He keeps trying, bless him. Yeah, so that's the choice of capsules that you can get with the Gardiner, whereas Xline, they don't do that. And funny old thing, what I've got next on my list of stuff is going to be bringing up what I use in terms of the sockets. The sockets are what go on the brush head. When you buy these brushes, I'll go over the Xline one first. They come with sockets on there, or when you go on Gardeners, you can say if you want a socket or not one, and what kind of socket you want on there, because they do so many different types. So you can have them without any or with a socket on there, but they're all interchangeable. So these are the Xline ones. I can take them off my Xline brush and then I could replace a Gardiner's one on there. They all screw into exactly the same holes. In fact, I've got one here as well. So you can see it's T-shaped. Where my finger is here, that's a Euro thread. Whereas on the quick lock system it's slightly different, it's square and there's little holes because little studs locate in there. So this is the Euro thread one that Xline just have. They don't have any other type. I did start with these, but I basically stopped using them probably over 3 years ago and went for the quick lock system. And because I went for the quick lock system Gardeners, I needed to use their goosenecks. So I might as well show you a Gardiner socket. So you can see what I'm saying now. It's the two holes you can see either side. They're going to be where the screws locate into your brush. So it's just a 1-for-1 swap. On the actual bit you see sticking up where it's square, which is your gooseneck will go into, you'll see you've got two holes. Just excuse me for a sec. I'll just try and take this off for you. So here's my Gardiner's gooseneck, the quick lock system. This is a swivel one, by the way, so that moves. Swivel goosenecks like Marmite, you love them or you hate them. I love mine. On top of the quick lock system, you've got this press stud. When you press that in, you just slide that socket on top. Let's move that out of the way. Once you press it in, it will go underneath and then pop up, and it's located in one of those holes you can see. The reason why there's two is obviously you want it horizontal when you're cleaning your normal bog standard window. When you come to them like Juliet balconies where you got the iron bars, this is not going to fit through. What you used to have to do, or I did, was bending around my pole and twisting it, trying to get this in, try and fit and force it through, and there's a lot of time wasting. But with this, you can take it off your gooseneck, press that press stud in. It's always easier when you're not on camera, and basically change the brush into that so it's vertical, and then you can stick this in the other hole. So I've got that's there for horizontal, got another hole in there, don't know if you can see it. So that's the one I'm going to push this into now. Now I've got the gooseneck here, and then that'll fit straight through your Juliet balconies. These bristles will splay out, and then you just press it up and down, take it out, move it along one. Or what you normally find is it'll fit in through a Juliet balcony, take it out, miss a gap, put it in the next one, because when you twist this, move it around, it will cover the bits you've missed putting this through, so you're still going to cover the whole window. When you finish cleaning that part of the Juliet balcony, you can take this out and then move it left to right like this to rinse the window down still. And then once you bring your pole down, just take this off, rejig it round, change it, and then it's back that way for your normal window cleaning. So yeah, I find that's a good way of cleaning Juliet balconies, and using the quick lock system It's very easy to change the configuration of how you want to use the brush. And if I want to change my brush over from using, say, Dupont to a flocked brush, it's really easy and simple to change over. The process is probably exactly, well, it is exactly the same. Excuse me a minute. Okay, cheers, Brad. In the last few months, I've been using the 35cm, okay, Ultimate with Dupont Medium Soft. That sounds a big name there, but yeah, Dupont Medium Soft, kind of get that one. The founder bristles are great and it's really light. Yeah, I believe they are. With 4, okay, 1.4mm pencil jets. It's awesome. Okay, so you're a pencil jet man then. I suppose having 4 as well, similar to a rinse bar, so that'll probably be a good shout actually. Do you find though with a 35cm, it's not too small on some of your residential windows? Because I'm pretty sure you can just twist and angle it. I've always thought this. When you're on them really narrow windows, when you're using a 35cm brush, all you've got to do is twist your pole so it's diagonal, and I'm sure it'd fit in there, and then do the same the other way and you still get to do the whole window. So yeah, maybe one day I should try a 35cm brush as well. And I suppose that could also be good for 35cm brush anyway, when you're doing the conservatory roofs, cover more of an area, I suppose. Yeah, it sounds a mouthful. I'll probably go over looking up what you've said, Brad, mate, using the chart that they've got on the Gardiner's website, so I can kind of decipher it. I have been tempted to use Gardiner brushes because they do look a bit cheaper, but I do find though my Xline ones, to be honest, I haven't got any complaints with them, and they do last me a long time, like 2 years. So yeah, it'd be great to know how long your Gardiner brushes last for you. I do like the fact as well with the Gardiners, you can change the capsules like we were saying, so you can change the configuration of brush really easily as well. Going back to, yeah, the product. Okay, yeah, so going back to the sockets. So I've got an Xline brush, but I use a Gardiner's socket. And then to fit that, as you've probably guessed, I use a Gardiner's Gooseneck. So that's the Gooseneck I use. Again, they've got different names. I believe this is a Type 1 quick lock swivel. So here's the brush. It swivels. I love swivel goosenecks. They do 2 different types of swivel ones. So on the end here, just where my finger is now, that's the pivot. So that's where it swings. And then they have another one where it's this bit that it's flat, goes onto the actual, don't know if you can hear me better now, goes onto the actual brush head, but it pivots right where my finger is rather than there. I believe that's meant to be the better one. But what I like is the quick lock system to enable me to change the brushes around. So that's why I went for that one. And then you've got a long arm, and then for my 4-foot brushes I use a shorter arm, but obviously I want the longer arm to reach over the window ledges, which I find no bother because I'm mainly residential. You'll see on the picture on the bottom it's not got this bit. This is added on, so it's a John Guest fitting. So basically the pole hose will push in there and it connects in. They changed these goosenecks because I'll show you what the old ones were like. This is exactly the same as what I've just shown you, but slightly different. So it's still the old swivel one. You can still adjust the angles, but the bottom bit is different to what I've just shown you. It's focusing. Because what used to happen is your pole hose would thread through the gooseneck, come out the top, connect to your brush. The problem is when you've got a univalve on here and you're pulling this on and off, you can see that's going to keep tugging on your brush. And then the little hoses that go down into your jets, when they changed to the capsules, what this was doing was breaking the actual jet capsules in your brush. So it's breaking the jet. And what people used to do is put an O-clip on there. So when you pull, it only goes so far, but this bit's still long enough to not mess up your jet capsules. And then plus when you're tugging away on the yeah, on the univalve, it's not going to cause any problems that way. And then Xline come out with something you go on there called a hose stop, and the hose stop worked really, really well. I can't remember how long ago, but then that's when Xline changed, Xline, I keep saying them. Gardeners, I do like Xline though. Gardeners changed to these goosenecks and got rid of the old ones, and that's because it solved the problem that was messing up with the capsules. So like I said, now with the picture to me right, I've got this on here with the pole hose, and that's connected to my univalve. So you're pulling on that, but this hose does not travel through here. This is all completely solid, and this hose goes in like a John Guest fitting on the gooseneck here, and then this is fixed. So when you start pulling on your univalve, this bit does not move. This bit does not move at all, and you don't need then to put any O clips or buy the hose stop, which was 10 quid from Exceed Innovations. And then that way this stays still, it's not pulling on these, which is not going to affect your jet capsules. But I don't have them, obviously. I've got a rinse bar in here. So that's why Gardiner's changed to these goosenecks. It solved all them problems, and it makes life easier for me now using my univalve as well. I'm not having to do the other bits I used to have to do. So what I might as well do, talking of goosenecks, is I'll try and show you, or I will do. Just bear with me a sec. I'll just have to get this onto Xline. If I go to their website, I'll show you their systems that they use for goosenecks. They're called angle adapters. You see where I can see it? Oh, if it keeps changing. Okay, we'll try spare and accessories. I don't think it's in there. Bear with me. Oh God, where was it when I'm looking at it? Here we go. Right, if you go underneath brushes and then pole accessories on the right hand side, you'll see angle adapters. And then when you're in here, just click on the water fed pole components again. And then under here, you'll see they've got their versions of what they use for goosenecks. Oh, hang on a sec. I'm just seeing I missed some comments. Yeah, sorry. What Brad's saying here is, you know, I was showing you about here, and you've got this part of the gooseneck that swivels. They do have a socket where the quick lock system fits on it, and then that itself has the swivel. So it's similar to the one I was saying where you need to screw it in and the swivel's closer to the brush basically than just using what I've been using. But it's still a quick lock one. I think that's what you're on about. But yeah, I'm glad I've said something that's handy then. Cheers, Brad. Yeah, rotate the brush through Juliet balconies. You can, because before I went swivel goosenecks, it's a bit of a fight to do it. Or if you've got the quick lock system, just take the brush out so it's vertical, and you'll find it easier and faster to clean the Juliet balcony windows, and then miss every single other gap, I suppose, if you find the brush can overlap the areas you're not sticking the brush through, that is. Because obviously Juliet balconies, you get some really small gaps and some that are nice and wide. Cheers, Ched. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some of these comments. Okay, oh my God, I've never thought of putting the brush vertical. I have a factory that has security bars and they're a pain, but vertical can make them easy. Thanks. Yeah, let us know if that helps you out. I'll be glad I've actually opened my mouth and said something useful. Okay, let's see. Excuse me a second. Right, should make the comments easier. Sorry. Yeah, it's been great for residential. I was worried it wasn't going to fit on some windows, but I'd struggle to get back to the smaller brush now. It doesn't feel cumbersome either. Okay, that's using a 35 centimetre brush for residential, because you know you're going to get some smaller windows. Like I say, and I've often thought you've just got to put it like at a diagonal angle and then diagonal the other way to get to the other corner perhaps, and you'll get round it that way rather than swap in for a different sized brush. And yeah, I suppose, like I said, 35 centimetre brush is going to have more coverage, so it's less movements with your pole going up and down compared to the smaller brush, and the weight is not bothering me at all. So nice one, good to hear. Going back anyway to these, yeah, I'll try and show you as well the Xline ones. You got these plastic angle adapters. They got different sizes. They go up to like 8 inches, 9 inches. They're plastic, Euro thread, because it's different to the quick lock. And yeah, I don't get on with them. They used to have a quick release on the side as well. I used to use that, but to be honest, it's just extra money, and you can just twizzle them things by your hand on the side to tighten and loosen. But I like the ones on the Gardiner's Gooseneck, how you can just quickly loosen and tighten to change the angle. It's really quick. But what they do with their plastic Goosenecks is it moves onto a silver aluminium thread. So you'll see on the left hand side they've got a gooseneck, in the middle you've got a Hoseneck series, and then to the right of it with a bit of hose coming out, that's the aluminium thread. Both of them work together to form a gooseneck. Bear with me. So that's the aluminium thread. You've got this hole here. It's this thread here aluminium thread fits into the first section of your pole up to this point. That's the bit that's now sticking out of your pole. This obviously allows your pole hose to go in. And then what you've got to get is some kind of little handy tool to get in there and then fish out, because it's not easy. So I'll do it this way. Your pole hose. So it's like this. Euro thread on the top. So male to female, and then that screws on. And do it too tight. Then you've got this on the side. Tighten or loosen to change your angle adapter. That's why they call it an angle adapter, but everyone else we call them goosenecks. And then your brush goes onto the Euro thread, which is why they use that system on Xline. But you can imagine turning this round with a big brush on the end, so changing your brushes is a nightmare compared to the quick lock system. That's why I moved to that. And then because I had to use a quick lock system, that meant I needed the Gardiner's Goosenecks, and I like them completely, and I like the new ones that they've brought in as well to overcome them problems that I was talking about. Problem with this though is you find pulling on there to get your univalve to come on and off, you still need to put O-clips or that hose stop that Exceed Innovations do. It is harder to pull on here, but when you keep pulling that loads of times during the day, it will keep moving and come through, and then you're going to have this problem of it tugging on the brush. When you weren't using univalves, it wasn't a problem then, because you just had on your tap something to twist on and off. But when you come to the univalve, this is the problems that it was creating. Plus what I found with Xline is, I don't know if you're that sort of window cleaner, but a bit anal retentive, that you want things to be in a straight line. So you had this, and I'd like it to be in a straight line going to my brush. But when you twist this on to get it tight, it's offset. So it used to do my nutting that it wasn't central, it was off. Maybe it's an ex-military thing, I don't know. So you'd find even though you got this nice and tight, it would be off center. This wouldn't be where it should be. And then over time, this would still twist when I'm cleaning. You'd just feel your pole twisting. And also this on here would be exactly the same. Tighten it on the Euro thread, but there'd be a bit of movement. So when you get it as tight as you can, it wouldn't be exactly flush. So you'd have to have it slightly loose for it to be horizontal. But when you're cleaning or at funny angles, that would start to turn. This would start to twist and turn and just did me head in. So that's why I switched over to the Gardiner's Goosenecks, and also because of the quick lock system. So it meant I can change my brushes around quickly as well, which is also good because I learned you can change it, have it vertical to put through the Gillette balconies, and I found that a big lifesaver as well. Totally agree with you. Things need to be straight. Pole clamps and hoses. Yeah, when I extend me pole up, I look at the clamps and I like to have everything in one straight line. And as you collapse them all down, when I'm walking off to another window or to my van, and then unclamping me clamps, spinning them around so everything is in one straight line. Yeah, that's just my ism. So I'm glad it's just not me, and I bet it is all window cleaners like to do that. I'm glad someone else is on the similar lines to me. So I'm just seeing where I am now. Right, well, basically I've covered what I was going to cover to do with the brushes, your sockets and your goosenecks. So hopefully you've seen that I love Xline. Cheers, Brad. There's only a couple of us on, so we all seem to, all three of us, agreeing with us. So 3 out of 3. That should hopefully make us all feel a lot better. It's making me feel funnier anyway, and a lot better. But yeah, it's just the way we are. My kids think I'm daft. I do believe, Ched, if you have an OV8 pole, I'm sure. I can't remember what version, but I think they've done an update on their clamps. So when you collapse all the poles, there's no wiggle. So I think they have a little indent. So basically when you collapse everything, they sit in the indent and there's no wiggle then. And that will keep everything completely aligned with the way we all like to have our clamps on the poles. So yeah, I think they do, from watching what people have said on YouTube. I've never used an OV8. Yeah, there is that as well. It can't spin. Ah, right, okay, Brad, so you use an OV8. I must admit, I've been tempted to go OV8, but I use an Xline high mod pole called a Nano, and it's 35 foot, so I'd hate to replace that with another 35 foot pole because that'd be really expensive for a high mod. But But I have thought, because of OV8, I do like their thought behind it to stop it spinning. Especially when I first started, it was all doing me head in. But when I changed to the quick lock system, the Gardiner's Gooseneck, to be honest, I'm quite happy with it. But I do think if I completely want, for whatever reason, win the lottery, I would probably get an OV8 just to try and see what it feels like. And I like the fact that it's not spinning. So hopefully your sections and your poles will last longer, which I think is the thought process behind that whole design, which is good. I know Xline have brought out a hexi pole, so it's probably their version along the lines of an OV8. 22 foot. Yeah, not cheap. I think once you into a pole, you kind of invested into it. When I brought my pole, it was 25 foot, but I stripped it down to 18 and I just put the extra section on when I need it. And my 18 foot does like 95, 98% of my work, no probs. But I've got the odd windows where 25 foot don't reach. So I then used a 30. And then as I took more work on, sometimes I needed the 35 foot. So what I tend to do is I have my pole stripped down to an 18 foot for everyday work. And even if I just need to put one section on it, I put the other three because they're together separate. So basically I put the other extension on and it basically transforms it from an 18 foot pole to a 35 foot. And then I just disconnect it all, take it off, put it back down to the 18 and carry on working on the house. Because you don't want to be carrying extra weight for no reason at all. Especially as you get older, it's a lot better just to bother your ass sometimes and make your life a bit easier. So yeah, I'm glad to see the OV8's a good pole. 22 foot I can imagine is ideal, because I think when you only had like 18 and 25 foot, and I think it was only a couple of years ago, so Gardiner's come out with like 22 foot. And then a lot of people were going for them because you then wouldn't have to use a 25 foot pole basically. And anything over that, you just need to whack on the extensions. So yeah, plus as well, I think that the 25 foot poles, certain ones anyway, they were more compact when they collapsed down. So it was easier to fit in certain size vans compared to a 25 foot pole that was collapsed. Yeah, poles are a big outlay. Yeah, use what you used to. Yeah. When I first started with Xline, they were really, really good with me when I phoned up. Good at giving me advice. No hard sales neither. So I went away, come up with my business plan. I was able to use their website to work out the costs of everything. And is it really shorter than the 25? I think as well, isn't it? It's because the 27 can reach longer, but as you've got like more sections, so when it's collapsed, it's more compact than the 25. For like I said, so some people have got a pole long enough to get to what they want to do, but when it's collapsed, it's short enough to get into their van. So I think they've come up with these sort of like poles like that to fill that sort of gap in the market. Okay, one extra section. Yeah, that makes sense. Seems weird to get your head around it, but it does make sense. Yeah. Well, Xline told me to go for a composite pole. So it's a hybrid pole with the seal brushes. So that was proper bent like a banana when I was using that. And when I was using it to do fascia soffits and gutters, oh my God. The best way to describe it is upside down fishing, because I had the pole the other way and it was bent upside down because I'm trying to get the brush to go up onto the fascia soffits and gutters, and that definitely does your back in. Then I had a problem with my van. You've probably seen in videos on my channel. Something went wrong with the engine, so I was having to work from a car. That's how I got my first Gardiner's backpack. And I didn't have tons of customers, so I was able to put 6 barrels of water in my car, use them up, go home, fill up and keep doing that. Was nowhere near as busy as what I had now because I'd first started then. But what I found is after a couple of weeks, my shoulders and my arms are absolutely killing me. So fair play to those that use barrels of water all the time and trolleys. It is hard work, especially when doing fascia soffits and gutters and things like that. What I found is the only way I could lighten the load was to go for a better pole. Now I had my eyes on a carbon fibre pole anyway. So I thought rather than going carbon fibre and then have my eyes on a high mod, the only thing I can do to make my life any easier, because I don't know how long I was going to have to keep doing this with my van off the road, was just sod it and go for the high mod pole. So that's how I got a high mod pole, jump in straight from a hybrid, and the difference was night and day. And like I said, over time I've added extensions onto it, so now I've got, if I want it, a 35 foot pole. So I think just to ditch that and go for another make it'd just be far too expensive for me. I need to win the lottery. Be nice to do that. Yeah, upside down fishing. Yeah, CLX, that's like your hybrid pole. They are really, really bendy, but they're great budget poles to get you started. I mean, my hybrid pole that I was talking about, I gave to a mate who started up, and I just said, have this. It's just sat in the garage. I said, you probably hate it, but it's cost you nothing, and you can test the water with it, and it can get you by until you perhaps buy something else. And I said, and also, even if you get a carbon fibre pole or something else later, still keep hold of that hybrid pole, because you can turn that into a sprayer to spray chemicals when you're doing fascia soffits and gutters and so on. It will still come in handy. So they're still worth keeping hold of. And yeah, nasty though, nasty clamps. Once you've got a high mod, that's it. But what I will say with a high mod, they cost you a lot more money. They're going to require a lot more maintenance, and you have to be careful, because if you push things too far, they're going to break and they're going to cost you more money. So sometimes budget's the way to go ahead. But at the end of the day, if you're like me, starting to get old, your arms, shoulders, your back, you need a high mod. You've just got to be aware the sections will wear out quicker than your more budget type poles. But then again, think of the money they're earning you. You can lay in bed without the aches and pains. Yeah, high mods really are that good, I suppose, as they're our main tool. It's a good idea to use the best. Totally agree with you. I love mine. I've got my son one as well. He's got curvature of the spine, so I've got him that to make life a bit easier. But he had to prove to me on the budget pole he knew how to strip it down and look after and clean it. And as long as I said I can see you doing that regularly, then I'll invest the money in a high mod. And yeah, he does that and looks after a high mod because he absolutely loves that. Night and day is the difference. Totally good. I started with the SLX hybrid, 27. Arms and shoulders weren't up to that all day, so he brought a CLX 18. Yeah, and CLX 8, I remember you saying, I've got an 8-foot pole and I have a 4-foot pole. I love my 4-foot pole. 8-foot pole is handy when you're doing, say, bungalows and you've got a conservatory. And then when you're cleaning the conservatory, say just on the side, there's in little angles where it's got the white cladding. Your 4-foot pole might not be long enough, so the 8-foot pole gets you there. And also you're using something really lightweight. I find using the high mod pole for all your ups, and then using like my 4-foot or your 8-foot pole for the lower stuff is absolute winning combination. You definitely feel better up here, especially as you get older. Definitely. Hi Rico, pretty new to window cleaning and the rest of it. Mate, honestly, you've done a good move. Just get into it. Don't worry too much about everyone else. I always focus on the window, doing a good job, and everything else I work backwards. That's all you got to do. Just look up on YouTube, see what people use, do your research. Don't think you have to have the best kit. Whatever you've got is the best kit at the time, and you'll just figure out your way of doing things. Everyone does things differently, so I'm hoping this maybe is of use to you, especially with the Juliet balconies or little tips like that. Good luck, mate. You won't regret it. Right, Brad, you all right, mate? Same thing with my back, trying to think of longevity. Yes, I am. My wife's worrying because I've got a heart condition. I didn't have it, or know I had it, when I had COVID. Went man down quite a few months later, in a bad way, cardiologist. But once they got me on the pills, I'm sorted out. And within 3 days, I'd lost a stone. 2 days later, I'd lost another stone. That was all just water because my body wasn't working right. And within 3 days, I was out working. Whereas 2 weeks prior to that, I was just laid up in bed. I was in a real bad way. So she's worrying about my heart, as well as me moaning about my back and arms. So yeah, high mod poles and the 4-foot or 8-foot poles, I would say definitely do. It's all right when we're younger. We think we can do this and do that. But as you get older, you have to start getting a bit wiser as well. Yep, all right, Ched, CLX 8 is 3 sections. Yeah, so it's short when it's collapsed. And I think your 4-foot pole is 2 sections, isn't it? Again, it's short. They're just really handy, the short poles, especially when they're tight spaces near shed doors, corners where you're near hedges, fences, that sort of thing, and definitely a short pole round the bungalow. You don't need to be carrying a massive one. And if you just got the odd Velux window, you just got to get your big pole out, hit the Velux window, job done. I'm new to the window cleaning and the rest of it. I brought a 40-foot Phantom carbon pole. I think it's brilliant. The clamps are what sold it for me. I use 25-foot most of the time. Mate, yeah, I use the Xline high mod pole. It's a nano, and I've swapped their clamps around with the Phantom clamps because they are absolutely brilliant. So my pole is basically a complete hybrid, really, because I've got a high mod pole from Xline. I've then got obviously their brush, but I use a gooseneck and the brush socket, which is from Gardiner's. And then from window cleaning centre, I brought their website, window cleaning warehouse. I brought the Phantom clamps, and yeah, I love the clamps, absolutely brilliant. My son did have a carbon fibre pole, which was the Phantom one, and that's what made me think more about the actual clamps on my pole, and I tested it and it worked. And also when I tested it, I did it on my top section, needed changing. It was completely spinning round because the clamps that were on the pole weren't holding it, and they completely held it, and I got almost another year out of a knackered section basically. So that's how good the clamps are, mate. They're really, really, really good. The Phantom carbon pole, yeah, my son liked that. The only thing he didn't like was as you extend the pole, you've got the different coloured bits on the bottom so you don't overextend it. With the carbon nano, the one from Xline, the ones we use, that bit is also bulbous, so it bulges out. So when you've got your clamp on there and it's loose enough so you can pull out the section, you don't have to keep looking down. You just get a physical stop, and you know you can't overextend it any further, so it stops you from accidentally doing it. Whereas we found with the Phantom pole, my son just had to keep looking down. But to be honest, if it's muscle memory, you know how far to go anyway without looking down. So you'll overcome anything like that pretty quickly over time, and that pole will last you a long time. And it is nice and light because it's quite thin as well. That's kind of you, Rico. Thank you. Yeah, it's always nice to know I've helped someone out, or we all have. I suppose we all just got to pull in it and help each other out, really. I know when I'm out window cleaning, I always put my hand up to another window cleaner. They always do it back as well. You get to recognise each other's vans, and it's quite nice when you're working and they're a couple of houses down, so you can quickly walk up to each other because we're busy. No one has a good chat because you haven't got that time, so it's nice to know someone's as busy as you trying to fit it all in, so we're all the same, really. Just keep at it, mate. Honestly, it's a really good... I wouldn't do anything else. I like it. I like going out. I like meeting other people. I like the fact you're running your own business. Yes, it does take up more of my time in the evenings behind the scenes, but you wouldn't do that if you didn't enjoy it and if you didn't like it. It's outside, fresh air. It's good for you. Just knackers your back up and your shoulders, unless you've got a nice light pole, which you sound squared away with. Okay, Brad, I'm probably in a similar situation with your son. Yeah, he has got scoliosis, mate. My son as well in his early 20s. Yeah, it's a good call to use that. Get a high mod. He does still ache, but it depends what you're doing that day, I suppose. But if you're going to get yourself a high mod pole, because I can't remember what you said you had now, it's an OV8. I think I would also think about getting a 4-foot, or like Ched was saying, his 8-foot pole. He loves that as well. So when you're doing the smaller buildings, you've got a nice light pole as well, and a combination of the two, especially when you're doing a day where you're doing lots of fascia, soffits and gutters as well, or the windows that are problems to get to. Because even with a high mod, I still feel aches and pains on my shoulders sometimes, because I'm probably doing windows that most people would turn around and say, no, I'm not doing that. So with a smaller brush as well, combination of the two, you'll really look after yourself. You'll notice a difference. Really enjoying your videos and finding out. Oh, thanks, Brad. I hope so. I just kind of like, oh, what's going on here? I just kind of do them. I just enjoy doing them as well, really. And I've watched loads of people on YouTube myself, so that's kind of inspired me. Don't know about you guys, but when I first started, obviously you've got Ashley McIntosh. If you don't know, look him up. But also he does a podcast, and I love listening to his podcasts. I'm on a job where I'm working Saturday. I work with my son and my daughter, but my wife comes out as well. And then my other son and daughter are going to be out on Saturday with me. We've got a couple of big jobs that I would never be able to do. So it's a big team effort. Some of it's in and out. The big job we're doing, there's 7 conservatories, like a showroom for a company that fits and installs windows. So that's nice. It's good as well to get my son to practice doing conservatory roofs because you've got glass and panels. So I'll give him a bit of a free roll on there as well, and then keep checking on him, give him tips so he learns that way. Excuse me. Oh, I just forgot what I was going to say now. Sorry. I was watching Ashley McIntosh, Squeaky Clean Dave. He's great as well. They're just down to earth people. Then I used to look in America, Luke the window cleaner. Obviously got Poles and Blades as well, and Steve-O the window cleaner. I still follow them a lot because when I was starting, I was getting asked questions. I was having to learn trad, so I was buying gear, practicing in the conservatory in the inside and the outside, and trying to get to grips and get all the tips and putting it into practice, basically, because the best thing is just get out there and do it, and you'll learn that way. And you'll just watch other people, watch stuff off YouTube, you'll figure things out, and you'll take what you want from that suits you, really. That's the only way you do it. Yeah. It seems funny when you say things like that. You can't wait to do a particular clean because you want to just try a new bit of kit out or a particular way of doing things. It's like when you order a new bit of kit and you've got something in mind for it, you get excited. It's like buying your first Hoover when you're married and then your mates think you're mad because I can't wait to get home and try my new Hoover out. Yeah, I would just get a nice small pole. They're probably about 40 to 50 quid, and you don't have to buy another brush for it. If you're using the quick lock system from Gardiner's, you can just take it off, stick it on your small pole, and away you go. A small pole, honestly, mixed with a high mod, will help look after yourself. Cheers, Rico. It's no problem. I volunteered, I wanted to join up anyway, like a lot of us do. And then you end up staying in there a while because it's a good laugh on the whole. But when you get a family, things just look different. And it all helps you to be a window cleaner, really. So does being a paper boy and all that lot. All comes back. Yes, Dan. Yeah, I loved him as well. God, it's something and lifestyle. Yeah, and he's got quite a few kids, isn't he, and stuff like that. It's a shame because he was refreshing. He was really, really, really good, down to earth. And I think he started to dabble again and it all went quiet. It's such a shame. His videos are really, really good. I liked him. I hope Dan, if he ever watches anything and he happens to be watching this, he's got a big following. A lot of people would probably wish him well as well. They miss him. A Panther. And Jenny. Yes. When I first started, I was looking at what other people do, and I could see with what I've got, as well as windows, that's your fascia, soffits and gutters. And then I just needed a ladder, pro gutter tools, and I used a Harris pole, but then you can use trad poles and other stuff. I used all that to get me to do gutter clears. And again, because of my back, and then swinging a 20 kilogram ladder around, and you can't just carry it on the shoulder in a straight line. There's going to be washing lines, arches and stuff, and weird angles to hold it horizontal and try and get through. There's one year I pulled my back out 3 times, just muscular, but each time it took me 2 weeks to get over it. And I just said to my wife, I can't do this. So I took another loan out and I brought myself a gutter vac and a generator. And every time I use that, I love it. I went for the Skyvac Industrial 85, and their generator at the time is bigger than the other one they come out with. It's 65 kilograms. So it's a bit of a pain to wheel up into my van and out again. But because I work with my son and daughter, 3 of us, we can get it in and out, no problems. I love the generator. I would never ask to use the customer's electricity, and especially with the hike in electrical prices. Generator, I think, is good. You can advertise. Don't need electric, I'll do my own. If they offer, I'll perhaps use it. I'm always scared, though, that I'm going to trip their electricity. So that's another reason why I like the generator. And plus, if they're not in, I don't have to worry about any of that. It's just generator out, off you go. Guttervac systems, they did catch my eye quite a lot. They're obviously good price as well, but I just went for the Skyvac in for the end. Don't regret it. I do like it. I would have saved money going to GVS, though. I think their version of the Industrial 85, oh God, I've forgotten the name of it now. It's not Panther. Predator, that's it. it looked good, but I like the wheels on the Industrial 85. But I think whatever gutter vac you get, you're going to love it. You do laugh a bit because when you first use it, it throws you back. You think, I'd have been better going up there with a ladder and get my hands in there. But once you live and learn and you realise different nozzles for different situations. But the good thing is, if you've got your ladders and then you brought a gutter vac, there are times sometimes where you just know, for the sake of time, just get the ladder off the van, go up the ladder, get the troublesome thing out with your hand, and then carry on with your gutter vac. So it's always good still to have your ladders as a backup, because sometimes you pick up a big object, like a big clump of cement that's come down from the gullies, and it's just wedged under a tile. You can get hold of it, but you just can't get it out. So ladder up and off I go. I did think Dan started again, and then I remember him saying it was hacked and they deleted all these videos, and then he kind of got deflated, which I could understand, and gave up. Yeah, I wish he made these videos. I love looking forward to seeing his. Okay, the Panther, yeah, small. The generator is only 17 kilograms. Wow. Yes, I've got like I'd say it's a medium-sized panel van. So it fits in behind my 500 litre tank, no problem, and with the generator. But I can't have it in all the time because I work with my son and my daughter. Normally in the back we have 8 barrels of water plus my 45 litre Xline trolley, and then I've got 2 Gardiners, because they're always handy, the Gardiner's backpacks as well. So we have to take all that out to put the gutter vac system in when we go out to do gutters. So when I do gutter clears, I tend to do them on a specific day and do the whole lot in flux. When I get asked to do them, try and get them all in one day and move my window cleaning across. That's the only way I can do it, really. But yeah, if you get a smaller sized, I suppose the Panther, and I think it's a Sonic now, isn't it, with Skyvac, but before that they're the Atom. Those smaller ones, they can always stay in your van and handy, and you could obviously use the customer's electricity, and it needs a smaller generator, so they're good buys as well. Everyone gets things for different reasons. Don't carry ladders to keep me safe. Yeah, I had thought of taking my ladders off the van, but I do need them sometimes, probably to get over gates when people forget to unlock them. I can use one section of the ladder to go up, another section the other side of the ladder to come down. So I just step from one ladder to the other. And some of the windows I need to go up a ladder and then use my pole from there. So I still have my ladders. My ladders are solid though, I absolutely love them. Okay, the Panther's 1700 watts. So your generator's big enough, yep. Oh, okay, Peugeot partner. Yeah, good call to have something like that. I did look at smaller vans when I first started, but for some reason in my head, I was thinking, why not just go for the next van? Because that's what I'll probably go for anyway. So I got that one. It's a Nissan Premaster or Primastar, however you meant to say it. It's a good van, although I've had to have my engine rebuilt, and then later on my engine completely kaput. So I've had a new engine put back in. So that was £6.5 grand. I've had my problems like we all do, but since then, touch wood, my van's been pretty solid. At the end of the day, we turn that key every day and never think well done. The minute it goes wrong, we're calling it all sorts of things, and then we realise how much we rely on it. Step ladders, yeah, I have a step ladder though. Yeah, pick and choose your jobs. It's a bit hard when you start because you want to say yes to everything, but you soon learn. As long as you've got enough to pay the bills, you can be picky, can't you, and make your life a bit easier. Especially as I start to think I'm getting older, I need to do that more myself. But step ladders are really good. I got them from day one because I use step ladders when I clean conservatory roofs. I like to be above the roof looking down, because when you're on the ground you can't see everything. It's more when you're on top. I think if they're doing a maintenance clean, sometimes you can get away without it, especially when it's decent. But when it's one of those ones where they're pretty manky clean and you're doing a good, like, proper clean on it to get it up to a very good standard, those ones where they're about like 60 quid or so, definitely need your step ladders on there. And step ladders they do wobble a little bit, but not as, you got 4 legs anyway. Using a caddy, medium-sized van. Yeah, prices are bad on vans. We've got that busy, you're thinking the only way to expand for us is to get a second van. Because the price of living's gone up, the price of the van's going up, we held off because I didn't want to go and get another loan, another commitment for say 5 years, to then find everything's going up in price and you wish you hadn't committed to that. So we've just kind of made do. My wife goes out in the car with the other kids, follows us behind in the van. That doesn't happen every day. It's just on really busy days, or we've got a big job in that's got their spanner in the works if it could all go wrong. And then we all just pitch in. That's how we do it, with surviving. So I'm going to stick with the one van I've got. It costs me enough anyway. I don't want another van to try and keep on the road. I think things going wrong. Thing is, everyone keeps asking me for quotes all the time, and I hate saying no. The only way to say yes is another van. But then you need more people. Then you've got the headache of sorting all that out. So I think one man band, or you and one other person. I'm lucky because we're all family, so we all live in the same house. Life's easier that way. I believe the prices have gone up, didn't they? Because during COVID, didn't make so many chips. So a lot of the vans are short of the chips for the computers. So that's kind of upped the price of your second-hand vans. So they've gone up. I know you feel, Ched. I mean, I'm 47, but feel like I'm 50 already. And I think every day I'm going up a year, I think. However, it keeps us young, I suppose, in spirit. Keeps us fit. Doesn't feel like it when we're aching at home, though. Yeah, COVID pushed the van prices up and they haven't come back down. Yeah, I think it's all to do with the computer chips. Something like that. I don't know if it pushed second-hand cars up. It definitely has the vans. Excuse me, just having a drink, as you could probably see. I haven't leased anything. I haven't thought of it. I think from a business point of view, leasing's quite good because it's classed as an expense. It's just the small print I think you have to look into when you're getting leases. Because if you go over a certain mileage or whatever, I think you get hit with some penalties and stuff like that. That's why I just got a loan, brought my van, and then just paid the loan off. I got a business loan. I went through something called startup loans. I borrowed £14,000 and that got me the van, all my kit, leaflets, logos, all that kind of stuff, and what I needed to get going. And I had the van kitted out for 2 people as well. And obviously it was 2 hybrid poles at the time. But my thinking was, even though I'm working on my own, if I had a problem with one thing, I could just switch over onto another pump and controller and pole, and then think about fixing it later when I got home, rather than my days out the window, because I don't know what I'm doing. You learn as you go. But then my wife started working for me. Then COVID hit. She had to look after the younger 2 and stay at home with them. So then got my son to get off your Xbox, come out with me. Then got to a point where he could get paid. And then my daughter's joined in as well. And we all are, really. And that's all happened in 5 years. So Rico just started. You'll quickly get round. Another 3 years, I think you'll be running around off your feet, because all you're going to do is concentrate on a good job. Don't advertise too much. Word of mouth. It spreads really, really, really quickly and easy. Okay, I'm sure I've been rabbiting on too long, so I'm going to start drawing it to a close, guys. Really enjoyed this one and the interaction, so thank you, everyone. Nice to know everyone's anal retentive like me. Got to have your pole clamps all straight, one straight line, and not a wonky brush neither. So yeah, get the kit that makes your life easier for that. It'll make you a happier person through the day. I don't know if your customers look at your brush and think, wow, that looks nice and neat compared to the other guy all twisted everywhere. Okay, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate all the comments and nice words that you've had to say as well. Much appreciated. Everyone have a good weekend. You too, Ched. Thanks for watching.